Now, in the ever-changing landscape of digital banking, the rise of cyber threats poses a critical challenge to the security of funds. As technology evolves, so do the tactics of cyber criminals, making it imperative for financial institutions to enhance security protocols and safeguard customer assets effectively. Joining me now to discuss this further is Nnamdi Ehirim, who is Head of Finance and Strategy at gomoney. Nnamdi, it's such a pleasure to have you. Good morning. Thank you for joining the show.
Glad to be here, Abby.
Great. It's great to have you. Well, let's begin with an overview of the current cybersecurity landscape in Nigeria and what key factors play a role in this. What do we need to know about it?
Okay, so firstly, I just want to give an overview of what cybersecurity is as a context for this conversation. So cybersecurity, as we know it, is safeguarding the digital experience. So over the last 2 decades, we've seen a very, very concerted effort to get as many Nigerians as possible on the digital terrain. So communicate more digitally, transact more digitally, move around more digitally, right? And as we say in the more physical world, to create security and to safeguard, it takes a community, right? So in the digital world, it's the same thing. There's not one person responsible for security, it takes a community. In Nigeria, we have the Nigerian Information Technology Development Agency leading the front, but we also have private sector players who are stakeholders in the industry. We have security agencies who are in the industry as well, right? And we are all trying to create a safer and more secure cyberspace. And a lot of the current issues facing the cyberspace, it varies, right? We have the more complex things like ransomware and phishing, and we have the more common ones that we hear about every day, regular online scams, romance scams, all this type of things, right? And a lot of these things are getting even more and more pervasive as more people come online. So a couple of the challenges we are facing is around social engineering, for example, right? So as you would know, in a regular romance scam, as we know it, you would need to meet someone, get to know them. As you get to know them, they become more vulnerable. You take their information and then you play on that. In the cyberspace, it's the same thing. As people get more online, people study them, monitor their social trends, social behaviors, and look to take advantage of them. So as more people come online and as more people transact online, we have bad faith actors looking to socially engineer them and take advantage of them. Right. We also have issues around resources, right? So as these challenges and concerns grow, we also need to we good faith actors also need to be proactive. We need to train people, we need to create new roles, and we also need to finance the policing of the cyber streets, right? And that itself is a very, very common challenge. And there's also, in addition, the very, very global aspect of this, right? So as people create new ways to defraud and create new ways to be bad faith actors, it's very easy for these methods to migrate across borders, right? And it's very easy for these technologies to move around bad faith actors. So we on our own end also have to be proactive. We have to evolve with the bad faith actors. We need to develop our own technology. And these are just a few of the key concerns that we need to worry about.
Right. You know, very interesting, but at the same time quite scary when we think about the proliferation and how fast evolving the spaces in terms of challenges. But let's look more at corporate challenges now. For instance, the fintech space faces some very unique challenges sometimes. Could we speak to some of those challenges and how they are being addressed?
Okay. So in the fintech space, right, is digital transaction. And as we see in the news, there's always a new player coming on board. There are a lot of people asking to be trusted, right? And fintech is very, very different from traditional finance in many ways, but specifically to cybersecurity. In traditional finance, you can walk into an institution, you can get to know the institution, they can get to know you, and as we say in the industry, you can be KYC'd, right? You can know your customer and know the institution you're working with. In the digital space, what we sell and what we take our pride on is making things seamless and removing the layer of physical that physical interaction and physical KYC, and that comes with its own challenges, right? Because it means people can try to mask their real identity and try to act mischievously as well. So as fintech players, what we do is to bring on board digital ways of KYCing people and bring on board new innovative ways of protecting customer data as we move it around. So starting with KYC, we are bringing things like multi-factor authentication. We are bringing things like digitally authenticating your documentation, like a driver's license, right? Or your national passport. We are bringing on board digital ways of doing biometrics. So as opposed to going to the bank to doing a fingerprint, you can do facial recognition, right? So these are some of the ways that we are looking to make a more robust KYC process. And aside from the KYC, right, there's also protecting customer data. Protecting customer data because we deal with a lot of third parties and who require this information. So we have to be very, very secure and careful. So there are innovative ways we go around it. There's new technology we're bringing on board to make the ecosystem a lot more robust.
Right, sounds like quite a number of moving parts there, but it's very fascinating to see that work is being done. We have just less than a minute left. But I want us to talk about fund protection because it's so important in terms of the sensitization around, what means have you implemented for users to understand this very briefly, please, because I want us to touch on it before you go.
All right. So in terms of fund protection, the most important thing is customer education. People would do better if they know better, right? So we verify all our social media platforms so people know where to go if they want to escalate. Nowadays, a lot of people prefer escalating on social media. And we also have in-app customer support channels where people can escalate issues if they have some. And moving away from fixing it, right? Preventive measures. We also go through trainings with financial partners. We also uphold and adhere to local regulations and international standards to ensure we have these best practices, right? And on a periodic basis, especially in situations like this where this is the International Fraud Week, we go around educative campaigns, right? So through emails, through newsletters, and where we can through phone calls as well, sensitizing customers into
so it's happening. The sensitization is there. You're pushing it. Well, that's
process.
Great news, and we hope to continue to hear more about it, and of course, begin to feel the impact as well. Because I don't want to face any threats. Nnamdi Ehirim, Head Finance and Strategy at gomoney. Many thanks for joining the show.